Well, hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Alan here with The Power to Gain Wealth. And I'm excited because we're all about empowering entrepreneurs. And I have a really good topic here today. And it's the biggest wealth transfer in decades. I want to talk about that. Sometimes you'll find that listed on YouTube or on the internet as the Silver Tsunami. And so I want to be able to go through some things. I want to talk about some challenges, but I also want to talk about some opportunities and how we can maneuver our finances and our world so we can gain opportunities. But first of all, let me do the rundown real quick. The Power to Gain Wealth is all about faith, family, fun, fitness, firm, friendship, and finance. It deals with all the 7 key areas of life. And I predominantly love to dive into finance because if you fix finance, it fixes a lot of problems, right? And so, let's dive in. I'm excited to be here with you guys once again, and I'm excited that you're a part of this. Definitely hit that subscribe button as we dive in. Now, I'm going to give you 2 very powerful tips that I think, and I'm going to give you these at the end, that I think are going to take off really this year and in the next year. Be ready for it. I think that this is the big play for the next 2 years. But I do want to run through these things first, give you some good ideas on what you can invest in, and then I'm going to drop the hammer on those things, and I think it'll blow your mind. In fact, one of them is so powerful, that's actually going to be my very next podcast. So when it comes to this silver tsunami, what does that mean? Well, obviously all these baby boomers, roughly about 73 million, are about to retire. Well, when they retire, their kids are gone, the Xers, the millennials, all those are gone. And guess what? They don't want to take care of a big house. So they're most likely going to sell that house. Now, sometimes you'll see some videos and people are saying, it's going to be crazy, America's going to be rocked, everything's going to be shocked. You know, think about this though, let's be realistic. 73 million people are not all going to retire at the exact same time, nor are they going to sell their homes at the exact same time. So it can cause some slight conflict, but it's going to be more like a wave, right? And if you learn to ride the wave, well, then you could surf, baby. So I'm here to teach you to surf. So let's just talk about that, because about close to between 70 and 100 trillion dollars, just so you know, is about to be moved, and it's going to be crazy. Just to give you an idea of how much that is, 100 trillion dollars is more than the GDP of China. So a lot of money is going to be moved, potentially going over to Gen X to manage their families' retirement, their income, that kind of stuff. And I want to give you some tips on that. So there's going to be some changes, right? Well, think about this. We don't have enough money in Social Security if everybody was to retire, or in federal pensions to take care of everybody that's going to retire. But if they do it in a wave, it might be manageable if we could fill those back up. We know that some economists say that somewhere around 2030 to 2035, we're going to basically completely deplete Social Security. I know that the current administration is working on some things to bolster that and grow that. So we'll see how that plays into effect. And I'll make sure that I jump on podcasts as we go step by step and talk about those things to help you guys navigate how you can continue to grow wealth, whether it's a moving market and a slow market, an up-down market, whatever that is. We're going to take a look at that. So anyways, once this money transfers over, these Xers and their children are going to have to begin to take care of that. Looks like boomers are going to move out of their homes. They're going to either sell them or pass them down. Now, when they move, here's an interesting concept. Usually, if you look at the statistics, they're moving to places that are more warmer, where they could save on taxes, where they don't have to pay taxes in certain areas like state income tax, like Nevada, like Texas, like Florida, because then they could have more money to spend, right? Certain states, like of course Florida, have eradicated property tax. So if they move there, they're saving twice, right? They're starting to save a bunch of money, and then their Social Security and or their pensions begin to go and last longer for them. The average American only lives to be about 68 years old, so they're going to get about 10, 15 years of retirement potentially. Some will live longer, but again, it's going to happen in a wave, so don't worry about it too much. One of the things, though, I want to encourage you with this transfer is there's going to be a healthcare situation that we have to deal with. Well, that healthcare situation, because people are going to be retiring, is going to bring some challenges and some wealth. Where does it bring challenges? Well, they're going to get out of their older homes, get into these maybe smaller homes, apartments, or assisted care living places, things like that. And then as they get older, they might have to have more hospital visits as their body begins to slowly change. Some people have more problems. Godspeed for those, and that are doing great and live long with hardly any problems. That's wonderful. That's what we hope for everybody, right? But we're going to see a lot of money being spent on healthcare, right? So a lot of it's going to go there, which actually gives you an opportunity. So this would be the opportunity portion, right, where you can invest in healthcare and potentially make a good return on your money, right? There's going to be increased demand for elder care, home health, nursing homes, assisted living, all that kind of stuff. There's potentially going to be rising chronic diseases, things like dementia, Alzheimer, heart disease, all that kind of stuff. So there's going to have all that care we're going to have to take care of. Government programs are going to have a little bit of weight on them, things like Medicare, Medicaid. Of course, we talked about Social Security as all these people begin to utilize that. How the government's going to manage that, that's up in the air, but we will touch on that as we go. Hopefully, because it's a wave, we can manage that really well. One of the other things is there's going to be retirement system pressure, right? Many boomers are actually outliving their retirement savings. So what happens then? Well, then we're actually trying to continue to receive more Social Security monies from the younger generation and then pay back the monies that older generation has put in. Which, interesting enough, when you take money from one location and you pay it to pay off another location, that's generally a Ponzi scheme. And so a lot of people like Robert Kiyosaki, if you've ever listened to him, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I know many of you have heard of that. He blatantly just says Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. Money has been spent. It's been gone on other things. Of course, in the private world, if we did that, like if private equity firms or hedge fund managers or things that manage funds like that ever did that, they would be in trouble, potentially go to prison. Yeah, actually, they would go to prison. I'm not going to say potentially. Scratch that potential. They would go to jail for a Ponzi scheme, right? So, but anyways, the moral of the story is we have to be diligent in our investments because all this money is going to transfer and there's going to be, like I said, challenges and opportunities. Now, where are some of the opportunities? Well, look at construction, right? All these new homes that these boomers are buying, these new apartment complexes, townhouses, they're going to need to be retrofitted with certain bars and things like that for as they get older that they could use to, hold on to the bars in the showers or even tubs with open doors that they can get into. So all that stuff's going to have to be retrofitted. So that's going to bring, for those of people that do retrofit construction, that's going to bring great money, right? So look into that. So there's opportunities. So one of the beautiful things, though, about retirement that just happened, I do want to bring this up. So it's an opportunity. It's one of those changing opportunities. People have asked for this for a long time. But your 401ks. Usually when your company gives you a 401k, you can only invest with whatever stock market stocks that company's investing in. They basically just take control of that. But Trump just issued a new law, which is going to change everything. So now you can actually invest your monies into alternative investments. And the stocks can be very volatile. You get it maybe into an index fund. It's safer. I love VOO. I use that. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just saying what I do. I love that because it gives a good return. It's like a base solid money. It just keeps coming back. 12, 13%. It's really great, right? Fluctuates, of course. But then with alternative investments, you can get even greater returns. I invest in certain alternative investments like private equity funds that are getting me 20 to 24% return. It's very difficult for the stock market to compete against that. So the fact that people can now take their 401ks and invest them like they do with their self-directed IRAs, their HSAs, their CISAs, their SEP, Simple, and Solos, when they invest those things from their retirement accounts, now they can use their 401k to do that and create some great and incredible returns with wealth creation. So that's some good news, right? Obviously, I'm going to be talking about that in future podcasts, so you want to keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on. Remember, check in to the Power to Gain Wealth. Now, some of the other things is the labor market. Well, how is that going to be affected? Well, mass retirement, and like I said, it's going to be a wave. Don't believe the naysayers, but there will be some things that are going to be hit, like we said, hospitals, caregivers, things like that. Loss of institutional knowledge. A lot of these great men and women who are now graduating into the next phase of their next life, that knowledge and all that experience is going to be at home instead of in the universities and in the workforce, right? Increased wages and benefits in some industries due to supply constraints. We'll see how all this takes place with all the new things that's happening in our government now. Some of these things may be slightly remedied, but yeah. So labor market impacts, right? Now, one of the things too is real estate dynamics. Well, what are we going to do with that? So as these baby boomers downsize, we're going to see a slight oversupply. Currently, right now, there's roughly 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single day, which is pretty crazy, right? That's a lot of people. And so we're managing that process, and you haven't felt really the effects of that as much, but as they get older, you're going to feel those effects even more. But when it comes to the real estate market, it could potentially open a great opportunity for those who are into buying and flipping. And I want to say this, look, if you're going to inherit that stuff, right? If you're going to inherit real estate, hey, you may not want to sell it, you may want to rent it out, right? And if you rent it out, then you're creating a secondary income, right? And if it gets transferred into your name, because those things are cash flowing, right? But if it's transferred into your name or moved into that in your name in some way, shape, or form, then you want to see a tax professional, of course, because some people don't know this, what I'm about to share with you. But generally, if you're a single person and you have about $250,000 in equity, then you start paying taxes on that equity. As a married couple, it's $500,000 currently in today's IRS federal tax codes. So you just have to know that currently that's the state. Once you have $500,000 in equity, you're going to start paying out taxes on that. So one of the strategies that many people will do, especially if you inherit this and it goes in your name, is they pull equity out. So imagine you pulled out $500,000 in equity in the home. Now that other home that you have is in debt. You're renting it out, but you're writing the debt off in taxes. And now you take that $500,000, invest, maybe buy 5 more homes, and then you rent them out. The renters are paying down the mortgage. You're creating cash flow. You know what it is. That's the rich dad, poor dad paradigm, right? But it works. I'm doing that. So you want to be able to get into that. You just continue to pay attention. And by the way, I do want to say this: if you ever have questions, ask those down into the comment box, because we want to be able to answer all your questions, right? So basically, that market is going to change things for a lot of people, right? Xers, they say statistically don't have as much money to retire as the boomers had prepared for, but now that they're going to get some of this retirement, houses, potential cash, it's going to be changed. Now, one of the things I will recommend if you're a boomer and you're listening to this, here are some opportunities that you can do. You could literally sell the house, and you could put your money into a nonprofit that gives annuities, right? And then you're getting those annuities on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, right? And those annuities will pay you out, depending on how much you put, until the day you die. Unfortunately, if you do that, well, then if you have any relatives, they're not going to inherit what's left over in that nonprofit, right? So you want to make sure that you note that. But if you don't, if you don't have any children, nobody to pass it on to, by all means, you could give it to a nonprofit that is approved for doing that, and then you can reap the reward of that annuity coming in till the day you die. Plus, you get a tax break for donating that money, right? Also, you could simply rent it out, and you can find a company that will manage your property since you're retiring and moving into a lower place, a smaller place, I should say. And you can have a manager, real estate, who does property management. Finding a good one, you want to test them out. We'll go through that later on. But you find a good one, they'll take care of the house. You never have to worry about anything. They'll collect the rents, and then you have this what's called mailbox money just dropping into your bank. So you're living off your potential Social Security pension, and also some cash flows coming in. Plus, if you haven't lived in the home over 27 and a half years, you're still claiming depreciation. My hope, my vote in the future, I would love it for all you boomers that are listening, that once you turn a certain age, maybe 60, that you don't have to pay taxes anymore. That would be wonderful. I just think that would be great. But anyways, that's my thought. It's not a law. It's not happening now. But I'm hoping for you guys, because one day I'll be there, and I would like to live tax-free and enjoy the last years of my life. The other thing, because we talked about Social Security impacts, just remember, if we don't fix that problem and that Social Security goes away to some degree, there has been a president in the past who tried to cancel that. You could just Google that. Who tried to cancel Social Security because we're about to deplete it. But if it does go that route where it does get depleted, then you'll definitely want to figure out some kind of investments, because living off that Social Security could be challenging. Or, like I said, or keep the house so you can rent it out, right? Yeah, just ask your questions, and we'll get to more of those topics, so we can go into deep dive detail into those areas and how to actually do that. Okay. So that'll be some of the tension that can probably happen. So we'll know as we go on. Also, taxation, right? One of the things is governments may consider universal long-term care insurance to take care of people, but then if they do that, obviously that's going to have to come from our taxes. So taxes could go up. I don't know if that's going to happen. Not with the current administration. Maybe later on, as this wave we continue to ride goes on. Those are potential just problems faced then. Now, let's look at urban planning. So I want to talk about that. Urban planning for infrastructure. So as baby boomers are retiring, like I said, they're moving to tax-free states, warmer states, places where they get out of where there's snow and ice so they don't slip and fall. It could create a vacuum in certain areas, but it could also create, for the younger people, young investors, opportunity zones where they can go buy these properties and then begin to build up their portfolio. So we'll see how that goes, right? I'll give you some of my what I think is going to happen as we go on. Now, what about opportunities? Well, I think there's going to be 4 basic opportunities here. That's where you can make some money, either investing, especially if you inherit that money. You can invest that money somewhere where you're going to make money off of your money. Might as well deploy your money to make money for you, so you don't have to, so you don't have to try to create it yourself. Hey, I do want to say this though, and this is, if you could take a couple of things, this is going to be one of those things that's very important. A lot of people get money. I run into it all the time, all walks of life. It doesn't matter. Nationality or cultural background. There are a significant amount of people who, when they get money, they basically just spend it. And then, they go on some wild vacations, they buy some crazy assets, some new cars, fancy stuff, but then all of a sudden they have nothing left. I want to encourage you. Go on a nice little vacation, maybe buy something nice for yourself, but then invest the rest and let it grow in wealth. There's also going to be, so I'm saying that because that's going to be the best thing you do. You can invest in some of these things like tech. So there's going to be a lot of tech being built around these elders, our elders, and around our baby boomers that are going to help manage them in their homes and things like that, that we see that's coming along even right now. That helps us navigate that. Maybe you remember a long time ago, you've seen the old commercials if you're around from the 80s and 90s, if you're a Gen X, and they would show a picture of someone falling and they would say, "Help, I've fallen and I can't get up." Now they would hang the thing around their neck. Well, there's all kinds of other things right now, especially when you put like a band. They're creating a band right now that goes on someone's wrist, and they're already out, but they're getting more and more savvy as AI comes in and impacts that world. But what's going to happen is it's going to constantly monitor everything on a regular basis, be able to report directly to the doctor. And again, they're doing that now, but what's coming out, which I'll talk about another time, is going to blow your mind, right? It's going to be crazy. So all this tech, right, is a place that you can invest in that's going to help elderly and taking care of the elderly. One of the other things is growth in senior-focused industries, things like home retrofitting, talked about that, retirement travel and wellness. And I don't know if you've seen this trend, but some of your cruise lines are actually setting up so that you can actually live on the cruise line basically, and you pay the food for, you pay for their monthly subscription and you live there. They take care of all the food, they take care of everything, they'll have doctors on duty, all that kind of stuff. That may be a way to go. There's people that are actually doing it as of today. And so there are a lot of baby boomers who are going to be able to save on a lot of money by simply taking their pensions and Social Security and going living there. But I say that because that's going to be a great investment for us who are not older yet, where we can invest in these cruise lines and see some returns on our money. Another place I want to recommend is philanthropy. A lot of people have some kind of spiritual, religious background, or maybe they have no children. They just want to do something from the kindness of their heart that just want to give to society, right? Maybe to something like St. Jude's, or something that helps pets, or veterans, or things like that, or their church or mosque, or all those kinds of things, right? And so there's going to be an influx of money going into that pathway, right? And also for legacy, right? Some people want to leave legacies of giving, right? Which my grandpa did after he passed. This is on my wife's side. We were going through all the finances and stuff, and we realized that he basically gave half of his money away, his paychecks and everything he was earning. And we were blown away because we knew he went to church. We thought maybe 10-15%, but he was actually giving half away and living off the rest. So a lot of people might do that, right? Also, education and retraining for late career workers may gain some popularity. We'll see how that goes, right? We'll see where that goes and what happens there. So there's some opportunities there. But don't forget, I got two things though that are powerful, and I want to make sure that you get that, right? So these are some of the risks. So basically, all this money is going to transfer. If you're Gen X, or you're one of those people that are millennial or anything lower, and you're going to receive some of this money, don't spend it. Get it into investments. There's basically a variety of different money-making machines, everything from houses to businesses to stocks to I wouldn't say annuities, but like bonds, things like that. And there's a huge list that we'll go through in another time. But I want to say this. The cool thing is you can invest your money and make your money make you money. Don't lose it, right? We'll even talk about later on family banks. I have a great guy who specializes in family banks, so we'll talk about that. So you can get set up like the Rockefellers, okay? So if you're going to invest in things like healthcare REITs, right? MedTech, telehealth, home health services. Also, don't forget, maybe dive into some divided stocks, some annuities, some municipal bonds, income in ETFs, some senior living, urban multifamily, REITs tied to care facilities. Those are going to be good. Fiduciary firms, wealth advisors, legal tech companies, right? Robotics, AI, caregiving assistance, remote things like that. So ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be amazing. I want to dive into these next two things here really quickly. I'm going to give you just a snippet. Wealth is going to be moved, and it's going to be crazy changes. It's going to have impact on our government. It's going to have impact on Gen X, millennials, and so on and so forth. Some people are going to spend it. Some people are going to invest it. The ones who invest it are really going to be the ones who end up winning in the long run because they leave great legacy and expand and grow that wealth. But there's two things that are happening right now. Two things that I think are going to blow your mind, right? So over the next couple of years, as we see the fluctuation of interest rates and everything going on, the word on the street is everybody I'm listening to, everybody from Robert Kiyosaki to Ken McElroy to Eddie Wilson to Andrew Cordell, all these guys who are the movers and shakers that are buying up apartment complexes around America, they are saying the biggest play right now is rentals. So people are going to be moving into lower rents, potentially if houses go up. There's debate. Interest rates come down. Houses may not change because they might actually become a buying frenzy if the interest rates go down and prices will go up, which could cause a rental market. If there was a mass exodus of boomers, all of a sudden they retire, well then there could be a surplus of homes, which could then drive the prices down. But again, there are some people thinking that's going to happen. I personally do not. I believe we're riding a wave. People are going to retire slowly over time, all at different times. It is going to affect it. But I think houses are going to pretty much stay basically about the same. They could come down a tad, but it's going to still create a renter's market, at least for the next couple years. So the play right now for you to invest in is in rentals. If you can get into apartment complexes, real estate, things like that, most of your private equity funds, your Reg D, Reg B, Reg C, or your 506Bs and Cs, they're going to start switching gears and going into real estate. So if you want to do that, comment at the bottom, and we can give you some stuff. I invest all my stuff. I have my house. I'm an LP in a bunch of stuff. I'm also a GP in a bunch of stuff. So you want more questions on that, put those down below, and I'll answer those as we go. But the next thing is this, and this is serious. So I was in my building right here, and I was teaching a group. We had about 30, 35 people, and they wanted to know more information. Sometimes I do little seminars for the cities that I'm in, because I have 5 offices in different locations. Actually 6, because I have one's in Hawaii, but the rest are predominantly here in the U.S. And so what I do is I do these little tiny trainings, and I help people to understand how to invest, how to architect their life, how to get set up so that they can begin to utilize their money so it goes out there and it makes them money to create passive income, which will be my next biggest after what I'm going to talk about now, because I'm going to touch on it now, then I'm going to go into great detail in my next podcast, and then after that one I'm going to go into how to create passive income. Okay, so AI, where's it going? It's going to blow your mind where AI is going, and you're going to want to invest in AI. I am going to hold that off to my next podcast, what I'm investing in and what I think is what you should invest in. But right now, what is being created is what's called manifested AI. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is optics that you can look through, not me, but machines or robots, and they can take in all the data and information, and then it's processed, and they can make wise potential judgments. So where they're going to be implementing these, and you can see already people are retrofitting their homes with certain AI. You could say, hey, Google this, or hey, you can call out Siri or whatever else is in there in the home that helps you to do certain things around the house. But this is what's crazy. So now your refrigerators are going to be retrofitted with these optics, and it's going to monitor everything that's going on, because everybody purchases basically the same types of foods on a regular basis. Very rarely do you diverge from that. And so when it notices you're getting a low, it'll just order it for you, and all of a sudden it'll just show up at your door. You just load it up in the fridge, and voila, you'll basically not ever really have to go anywhere to shop, right? You'll be able to, your car, especially some of the electric cars, as they come out, as they get better over time, when they come out, the original goal, or the current goal, I should say, right now, is they'll be retrofitted with these optics. And what's going to happen is they're going to notice that, hey, they need to go get some maintenance done, right? And so they're going to text you, hey, I noticed you don't use the car really on Tuesdays. Is it okay if I go and I got to take myself down and get some maintenance? You click yes, your car takes off, it goes get it done, and it comes back. Everything's taken care of by itself. It's going to be crazy what they're doing. You're barely with robots coming out with Tesla, that's going to be mind-blowing. Many people think that Tesla is a car making company. It's actually not. It's an AI company. One of the things that America is doing, in case you didn't know that, so Mr. Wong, I apologize, I forgot his first name. He is so I'll give this one tip away. This is one tip. I'm giving you one, okay? He is the CEO of NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA builds the machines that actually allow AI to run. AI has to have faster and faster processes, and so we're constantly upgrading, constantly building those out so we can go faster and faster, so it can take in all the information and make wise judgments. So all this is happening at the same time. Well, one of the things that our current administration did is they signed a contract with him that these are to be built in America. So he's capitalizing on pulling AI into America so that we can maximize the profits as we begin to utilize AI to sell to the world, right? So there's going to be some amazing, amazing things coming on. So you're not going to want to miss that, because one of the things, I'm going to talk about this later, one of the investment opportunities is speculated to potentially do anywhere from a 2,500% gain to a 25,000% gain. The same guy who predicted this is the same guy who predicted the Tesla increase that shot up to over 700% and created massive wealth for people. I'm going to go into a deep dive on that. I'm going to go in and show you what's happening. I want to be able to hear from you, and so be ready for that, because I'm coming on strong every week to bring you some great financial information and some other things that we can build our life on and grow and build a thriving life together. Hey guys, peace out. I'll see you guys soon. Write those comments down there. Ask me questions. I want to hit all those things. And we look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.